was 17, I ran away from home and from everything I had ever known. I was sick and tired, living in a...
Hello, hello, hello. And thank you so much for tuning in to A Spoonful of Comfort. I am Claudine Jackson. I am your host for A Spoonful of Comfort. And I hope you are remembering that you also have a spoonful of comfort, that you don't have to look for people to give you comfort, that you can also give comfort. And if you saw our leader yesterday, you know we need to comfort each other because we are not getting any comfort from our leadership in this country. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy, holy name. I will bless the Lord. I will never forget the glorious things he has done for me and is still doing for me. And to our audience, grace be to you. Grace be to you and peace from God the Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. And may grace and peace be multiplied unto you, and also health and prosperity. May you be blessed with health and prosperity. I wanted to tell you how to reach me. You can reach me by email at jacksonclaudrine@sbcglobal.net. That's Jackson Claudrine, Claudreen, at sbcglobal.net. You can also reach the Purvis Jackson Autism Foundation at Post Office Box 04422, Detroit, Michigan 48204. I'm also on Facebook, so you can become my Facebook friend and communicate with me through Facebook. Now, I don't know if you saw the show I did about a month ago with the three bass singers who are releasing a song that I wrote that my husband sang. They added their voices to it, and the song is coming out this month, and it's called Almost. If you missed the show, but if you're interested in the story behind how the song came about, you can watch the show on Facebook, or you can go to WHPR on demand and scroll till you get to A Spoonful of Comfort, and you can watch the show there. But if you don't want to scroll and you don't want to look through all the shows, they put the show itself on Facebook. These three bass singers, one who is the bass singer for the Spinners Now, a young man that Purvis was mentoring before he passed, and another bass singer who had a recording studio and is a musician and a singer, and they just worked magic with this song that Purvis recorded 20 years ago. So it's the song is called Almost. It was a poem in my book of poems. I had my first book, Let There Be Light, had a poem in it called Almost, that Purvis surprised me by putting it to music and singing it with the reggae beat. Well, it never got released. So the new bass singers have taken the song, added their voices to it, and they're going to release it as a tribute to Purvis Jackson. So this is the second time in my life that I have been surprised with Almost. So Almost is almost ready. I'll recite the words to Almost for you. It's from my Let There Be Light book. I almost had some money because I almost won. I almost missed the rainstorm. I almost saw the sun. I almost saw my ship come in, but it was not my time. I even almost had a love, and he was almost mine. I almost thought that I could smile. I almost stopped my crying. I almost said, well, I give up. I'm sick of all this trying. Well, almost is so far away and almost is so near that I can almost touch it. My day is almost here. And when you hear the song, now you know what the words are. It's they did a beautiful job, and I'm very anxious for it to come out. So you'll be hearing it as soon as it comes out. Uh, Paris Delane, Trey Cruz, and Jesse Peck, who is now the bass singer for the Spinners. Those are the three basses that joined their voices to Purvis. So I said, with four basses, that seems like a home run to me. Um, I want to thank the people from the Big Ticket Classic. We had a golf event this past Sunday, this past Sunday, July the 15th, to raise money for the Purvis Jackson Autism Foundation. It was Wesley Gullick, Richard Welsh, Hollis Sheffield, and Maurice Cochran. They are the four big ticket golf people, and they give an event every year to raise money for the Purvis Foundation. And I am so thankful and so grateful to them because I know that helping handicapped people is not anybody's priority. So anyone that goes out of their way to try to help the Purvis Foundation or help people with handicaps, I am so thankful. I am also thankful to all the golfers who showed up and played for the Big Ticket Classic. Thank you so much. And if you go to Facebook, some of the golfers and some of the things about the Big Ticket Classic are on my Facebook page. So maybe you can catch up on Facebook. I also want to remind you of an upcoming event to raise money for the Purvis Foundation, which is the 20 Grand Reunion. The 20 Grand Reunion will be held on August the 11th at 7 p.m. at Burt's Warehouse, 2727 Russell, right across from Eastern Market. Now, those of you who remember the 20 grand, we're trying to remember not only the place, but the people, because there were some people that just kept the 20 grand going, and there was always a story about them and the interesting people. So we're having Miss 20 grand and Mr. 20 grand. Miss 20 grand ladies and Mr. 20 grand men. And if you can't make it to the event, hopefully you'll watch the show because we're going to be filming it and we'll be showing it on a Spoonful of Comfort. But the 20 grand was a destination in this city for so many years that I don't want its history to get lost in the shuffle. It burned down, I guess, maybe about 20 years ago. From 1960 to 1980 were big years for the 20 grand. So please come to the reunion. You don't have to have been around during the 20 grand years, but you can come to the 20 grand reunion and meet some of the people that kept the 20 grand going. I'm going to take a short break, but I also want to remind you to vote in the primary August the 7th. The reason we don't get the right leaders is because a lot of us don't get out to vote, and I understand how some people feel like it's not worth their time, but please get out and vote August the 7th. I'm going to take a break. I'll be back to you in a minute to talk to you about life's challenges.
When I was 17, I ran away from home and from everything I had ever known. I was sick and tired, living in a town filled with narrow minds and hate. They used to laugh at me, their children called me names. I would run and hide, feeling so ashamed just for being born. I was just a boy, punished for a crime that was not mine. Life
thank you for sticking with me on A Spoonful of Comfort. Welcome back to A Spoonful of Comfort. I hope you're finding some comfort in life. And I wanted to talk about life challenges because we do not get through life without going through challenges. No matter how uh, religious we are, or how spiritual, or how wealthy, there's going to be challenges in life. I wanted to read to you one of the scriptures about challenges that has helped me a lot. This is Matthew 5:45. And it says, He maketh the sun to shine on the evil and the good, and he sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. He maketh the sun to shine on the evil and the good, and he sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. And Romans 8:18 says that the sufferings that you are experiencing today are not worthy of the glory that will be revealed in you. So God never promised us there wouldn't be any suffering, but he promised he would be there with us. Psalm 55 says, Gather my saints together with me, those who have made a covenant by sacrifice. Psalm 51:17 says, The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. The Lord says, Call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. When we're going through our troubles, we're supposed to call upon the Lord. Psalm 51:10, Create in me a clean heart, and renew a right spirit within me. God will renew and restore our mind, our spirit. We got to take care of our body. I want to share with you some of the words in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes, that to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heavens. There is a time to be born and a time to die. There is a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which has been planted. There is a time to break down and a time to build up. There is a time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. I hope that you will go to Ecclesiastes yourself, because I didn't read everything about what times we're going to experience in life. But I've had my time to mourn. I've had my time to weep. And I was very pathetic. I wasn't brave. I was crying and upset about my son's medical condition. And my son still has the same condition, but I'm no longer crying and upset about it, because he needed someone who cared for him to look out for him, because he couldn't look out for himself. You know, all of us mothers, we look out for our children, but we expect them to grow up and move away, and then we have freedom. Well, I knew I'd never have this with my son, because he's 43 and he still can't read or write or talk, and he still can't live independently. But I have learned so much from being his mother that I no longer cry and feel bad about it. And that's why we have the Purpose Foundation, because I know what parents of handicapped children go through. I've been through the ringer with him. And parents of children with handicaps, a child with a handicap puts a strain on a marriage. So many of these parents are single parents. So the Purpose Foundation wants to help them. Wealthy parents, they don't need the Purpose Foundation. They have all the resources they need to send their children to camp, to pay for medication, to pay for therapies. Poor single mothers with handicapped children don't have this. I've been through both phases. And Matthew 11:28 says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And that was hard for me at first, but it's true. The Lord says that the scriptures that he gives us and the promises that he makes us in the Bible, if we live them, we'll find out that they're true. He he wants to affirm his words. So come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Also, Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your burdens on the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous person to be moved." Now, I want to read to you a poem a couple of my poems. One that I wrote when I was going through my depression. Uh, I've met other parents of children with handicaps, and they've been all kinds of, some have been depressed and some haven't been depressed, but I was depressed. In my book, Inspired by Autism, I wrote about my experiences raising a child who's handicapped by autism. So I want to read to you one of the poems that he inspired. I've read it before. I'm reading it again. This is how I felt when I first found out just how serious his condition was. I felt like a little lost child. Your little lost child is looking for you. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. My light's going out and it's getting cold. And I feel so tired and I feel so old. I don't know how I'll make it to get through the day without help from you to show me the way. You're a little lost child. I'm down on my knees. I can't get up by myself. So, Lord, help me, please. If you take my hand, I will make one more mile. So reach down and touch your little lost child. And he did. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. And he will do the same for you. Another poem I want to share with you is "He Who Holds the Future." This is as I was coming out of my depression and realized that God never promised us that we would never have challenges in life. I was worried about the future. What is going to become of my son? What is going to become of me? And now, from me being in my 70s and my son being in his 40s, I see that God was saying, you just take care of today. I got the future taken care of. So this poem is called "He Who Holds the Future." When storms are raging round me and I'm drowning in quicksand and unhappy things are happening, things that I don't understand, when I don't know what else to do, I'll just do what I can, because he who holds the future, he also holds my hand. I believe that God is with me every step of the way. If he brought me to it, he'll bring me through it. So in his care, I will stay, and I will face my future according to his plan, because he who holds the future, he also holds my hand and your hand too. And there's an old gospel song. I didn't write this, but this is something else that helped me when I was going through my trials and tribulations. Like a ship that's tossed and driven and battered by an angry sea, when the storms of life are raging and the fury falls on me, and I wonder just what I have done that makes my race so hard to run. And I say to my soul, don't worry, the Lord will make a way somehow. The Lord will always make a way somehow. I don't know if you remember the footprint story where the person had the dream that told the story of their life, and they were walking on the sand, and there were the footprints of Jesus walking with them. And then when they got to a certain point, they said, well, Lord, this is when I was going through the worst times in my life. And I only see one set of footprints. And Jesus said, that's when I was carrying you. So that's our life. He can be carrying us and we don't even know it. And that's why when we come through our trials and tribulations, we need to glorify the Lord and thank Him and remind people, because there are others going through just what we went through. There are other people going through the exact same thing that I went through. There are other people going through even harder challenges than I went through. So when your challenge is over, and even if it's not over, you can still give hope to others, because God is going to renew you. Some of the renewal scriptures: be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. They that wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like an eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. That will get you through the next 5 minutes. If you're having a hard time getting through the next 5 minutes, remember, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. And it's the truth. So I mentioned before that one of my comforts has been traveling. And in the beginning, I would travel to get out of the autism frame of mind, to just get autism off of my mind. But I have been blessed to be able to travel to a lot of places. And when you travel, you see God's fingerprints. You look at the beauty that God has created in this world, and you know God did it. God did it. Man could not have done this. Who put all the water in the Atlantic Ocean? Who put all the water in the Pacific Ocean? Who put all the sand in the Sahara Desert? God has done He has put so many beautiful places on this earth that artists have painted landscapes of the beauty that He has created. But God created it first. So when you see a beautiful painting, a beautiful landscape, God did it. We copied it. But I want to tell you about one of my trips. I went to Malaysia. Now, I'd never planned on going to Malaysia, but I ended up in Malaysia on a cruise. And the morning that our ship docked in Malaysia, I looked out. The sea was silver. It wasn't blue, it was silver. The sky was silver. It was so beautiful that I said, God did it. Thank you, Lord. You did it. You made this beautiful sight for us to see. So while I was in Malaysia, I went to the jungle. Now, I didn't go into the jungle, but I went to the jungle. And that was very exciting for me, being at the jungle in Malaysia. Now, I wouldn't have been excited to go into the jungle, but I was excited to be there at the jungle. And we bought, there was a stand outside of the jungle where they sold things that grew in the jungle. And one of them was nutmeg. And nutmeg was a white fruit. And the nutmeg that we use is from the seed of the nutmeg. But the nutmeg fruit was very delicious, and it tasted almost like coconuts. So I was taking pictures of the jungle and taking pictures of the fruit stand outside of the jungle. And they told us, be careful with your cameras and your phones, because they said the monkeys come out of the jungle and snatch phones and cameras and go back into the jungle. So I said, well, I better be careful. But there, outside the jungle in Malaysia, they had a place for the monkeys to come, and it had food in it. so the monkeys could come and get food, because they'll take your food too. If you're eating, the monkey will snatch your food and go back into the jungle. So they were uh, monkeys were in the cage, and they have the cage, and the monkeys are free to come to the cage when they're hungry and go back into the jungle. So it was really interesting. It's something that I would have shared with my students if I had been teaching then. So I don't have any students. So I'm sharing it with you. Going to the jungle in Malaysia. It was looking at another one of God's fingerprints. And I also went to India on that trip. And India is also a beautiful place, but places like India let you know how blessed we are in this country, because the poor in India are even more poor than the people in our country. And we had a guide named Marco. We went on a river cruise down a river I went to Cochin, India. And he said that they still have arranged marriages in India. And he said that the girl that he was in love with, her family had arranged for her to marry someone else. So he said there was nothing he could do. And he said, I stand before you with a broken heart. And in our country, we don't have arranged marriages. Some of them might work out better if they were arranged. But at any rate, travel lets me know how blessed I am to be in America. And America is not perfect. There are a lot of things wrong in America, but there is no country that's perfect. So I'm thankful that I live in America. I'm thankful that I have freedom of speech, where I can talk to you and share my thoughts and experiences. And I hope that you talk back to me sometime and call in and tell me your favorite scriptures or your favorite experiences. So it's almost time for me to go, but remember, give comfort. Don't let anybody take away your comfort, and may the power of God protect you. May the presence of God comfort you, and may the love of God enfold you. Until next Tuesday at 1:30, tune in to WHPR Channel 33 for a spoonful of comfort.
When I was 17, I ran away from home and from everything I had ever known. I was sick and